You're front and center on the live feed.
First, just want to thank everyone for being here today. I really do applaud you all for really learning about the community in general and how business leaders like yourselves can incorporate themselves and their business processes into making Central Florida a very inclusive, actually the most inclusive region in the country. So, to give a little bit of background, some of you may or may not be familiar with Business Advisory Council. So CIL launched the Business Advisory Council last year as an initiative to bring together businesses and business leaders with our community, and again, creating a more inclusive, more work-friendly environment for everyone. And so since CIL is the leader in serving the disability population here in Central Florida, we thought it necessary in order to also serve as a resource to you, again, as business leaders. So, for instance, someone has hired, or your company has hired an individual with a disability. However, you do not know this person has a disability because they did not check the box for fear of not being hired by you. What do you do? So, hypothetically, you don't have to answer that, it's really early. But that's something that CIL will be able to answer for you, and BAC, again, with creating a network together, you all can learn from one another, and then you all can also learn from CIL. So a little bit of basis. So essentially you can see the BAC as a liaison for you and also a resource. So first, I really want to thank Mayor Steve Leary for taking the time out today to support us in this effort and really, again, connecting the community. So I would like to bring you up for, he's also
Thanks, everyone. I usually don't have trouble being heard. Helen knows that I come from a family of 6 kids, so I spoke up pretty quickly, and now with 3, I have 10-year-old triplets, so I also learned how to, they don't listen. I don't speak loudly. So I want to thank everyone done. I also want to thank the Center for Independent Living, all the work you do in our community. It's really transformative, so I want to thank you for that. And regionally, the Business Advisory Council regionally does such a great job and is really impactful in helping employers. So I want to thank you all for that. I have a great proclamation here to read today. It's National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So, whereas workplaces welcoming the talents of all people, including people with disabilities, are a critical part of our efforts to build an inclusive community and strong economy. And whereas in the spirit, the City of Winter Park is recognizing National Disability Employment Awareness Month this October to raise awareness about disability employment issues and celebrate the many and varied contributions of people with disabilities. And whereas activities during this month will reinforce the value and talent that people with disabilities add to our workplace and communities and affirm Winter Park's commitment to an inclusive community. Now, therefore, I, Steve Leary, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Winter Park and the state of Florida, hereby proclaim the month of October 2015 as National Disability Employment Awareness Month in the City of Winter Park, and call upon employers, schools, and other community organizations in Winter Park to observe this month with appropriate programs and activities to advance its important message that people with disabilities are equal to the task throughout the year. Congratulations. Thank you so much. I know.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
My pleasure.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Mayor Steve Leary mentioned that this month is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, which is kind of what spearheaded us in order to create our Aspire to Hire 100 campaign. And you'll hear a little bit more about that. So as you start to see on your bags and on collateral, Aspire to Hire 100, I'll definitely describe that a little bit more. So again, the Business Advisory Council serves as this connection so that we're connected with ourselves and also with employees. And then also as part of Jason, our program director, will explain a little bit further in just a little bit more about our actual programs and our Aspire to Hire program. The Center for Independent Living, our mission is to, again, create an inclusive environment. So for all people with all disabilities, extremely wide-ranging, according to the Americans with Disabilities Act. So I'm going to take a cue from Kevin, who always says the thing that he appreciates the most about CIL is that we are people with disabilities helping people with disabilities. So 51% of CIL's staff and also board has to have some sort of disability. And so we really are a peer-to-peer support agency, which again lends to the BAC, we're being peer-to-peers that are supporting one another. So the Aspire to Hire 100 campaign, 9 in 10 people in the state of Florida with a disability are unemployed. These are for various different reasons. One could, again, I mentioned fear. Fear of not being accepted within an employer, fear of being mocked, and so on and so forth. But then also the collaborations haven't quite happened yet. The connections haven't happened yet. The message from you as an employer hasn't necessarily happened yet in terms of welcoming and opening your doors and being very receptive to someone with a disability. I just shared a little while ago, someone with epilepsy has to check the box that they have a disability because it's an application. It's against the law to lie on the application. However, you cannot see, it is not visible to you whether or not someone has epilepsy. Not always. So therefore, me checking the box, I automatically get that disconnect, or at least the perceived disconnect. And so our Aspire to Hire 100 campaign is our effort in the Central Florida region to work with business leaders to hire at least one person within each company, up to 100 individuals this year. So we're launching this initiative we started October 1st. So far we have a few partners that have come on board already to say, yes, I want to pledge and I want to be part of Aspire to Hire 100. And so this is going to run through next September. So kind of growing and growing to make it more and more and more inclusive for people with disabilities. And I'm going to bring Jacinth Lawrence up, who is our program director. She's going to share a little bit with you about our programs.
So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just to continue on what Margot was talking about, I'm the director for contract services, and two of the services that I manage at the Center for Independent Living are our Aspire to Hire and our Step Ahead programs. And both of these programs are geared towards ultimately preparing people with disabilities for full-time, gainful, or part-time employment. We use the term competitive employment a lot, and what that means is this individual will be doing the job that you expect them to do, just like everybody else, and they'll be able to perform the job the way you expect them to do with accommodation, with or without accommodation. And they will be paid just like everyone else. So it's fully inclusive, competitive employment. The first program that I'll talk about is our Step Ahead program. It's a youth transition program. The Center for Independent Living, among many other organizations, has been mandated under WIOA. That's the workforce, how did I completely forget? Initiative. Thank you. I'll remember it in a minute. But basically, it's the Workforce Act that was recently re-signed, and the focus is on preparing people with disabilities for employment sooner. And I'm going to remember that acronym in a minute. So Step Ahead serves youth between the ages of 17 and 24, and typically our population are individuals that are not in high school. We do serve kids in high school through our VR relationship, but for this program, it's specifically for individuals 17 to 24 years old. And they come to our organization and they go through a 12-week prep program. Part of it includes work ethics, and I guess the best word is soft skills training to prepare them for what it is like in the world. Many young people in schools are very sheltered. They have their teachers, their family, all the resources are available to them. They have incredible accommodations in the schools that they won't find in the workplace. So we need to prepare them for this new environment that they're stepping out into. And so our kids are typically kids who left high school or dropped out and have no connection. They didn't know that there were other services out there. They left high school and suddenly the real world greeted them and they weren't prepared. So they are coming to our program for that preparation. And so we spend some time working with them. We start with case management to really assess the individual and get a sense of what their work long-term goals are, guide them towards the right direction. Sometimes it may mean assessing their career goals. It may mean talking with their families about putting in certain resources in place that they may need long-term. It's connecting them to vocational rehabilitation and the Agency for Persons with Disabilities for long-term care as well. After that, they go through the pre-employment skills training, which is classroom-based and community-based. So they participate in classroom peer-to-peer training with an instructor. They also go out into the community and volunteer and are exposed to different work environments to get them to kind of start thinking about what they want to do long-term and make some real concrete decisions about their future. And they won't know that until they explore. And so we try to give them as many of those opportunities as possible. After that first 8 week of pre-employment skills training and work shadow and observation, they get to do 20 hours of work experience in one of our partner organizations. And you'll see pictures as we go along about some of the connections that we've made. So in Aspire, when we talk about Aspire to Hire 100, the Step Ahead program will be an integral part of that initiative, because these are kids that are going to need the experience that you can provide. They're going to need the opportunities that you can give them. Now, Aspire to Hire. Aspire to Hire is our employment program for our adults who may have come through our Step Ahead program or refer to us through vocational rehabilitation or literally walked off the street. We're one of the only agencies that can support employment placement without vocational rehabilitation funding, because we recognize that all our individuals with disabilities need services and wait lists don't help. So we try our best to take everyone that comes to the door as much as possible. And our grant writer works hard, as well as our development team, to find funding for that. We do basic things: job readiness, resume writing, job search techniques. We teach them how to request job accommodations. We also support the employer in sensitivity training. And that's one of the services that Aspire to Hire provides that I want to talk about a little bit today, and invite Haley to pass out some quizzes for us. Just to give you an idea of what we do, many employers that we connect with, sometimes they're the first time they're hiring somebody directly with a disability that they're aware of. They may have worked with others with disabilities before, but have never been in a situation where someone has had to ask for an accommodation, or they may need to train their coworkers or their lower level managers on how to work with people with disabilities. So we offer sensitivity and disability training for all disability groups. Those of you who know CIL well, you know that we have a strong tradition with deaf services, but we also have a very strong tradition working with people with mental illness and some of the hidden disabilities that we're not familiar with. And so we will be able to come out and meet with you as the employer and talk about with you what it is that you want your staff to be more sensitive to. What are some of the issues that you're experiencing that you want your people to get a little more knowledgeable on? And so we can do a basic sensitivity training that just talks about simple etiquette, how to work with a person with a disability, and we can go really in depth and try to help you understand how the ABA applies. We also get calls from employers asking us, how do I make an accommodation for someone who has this particular disability? I'm not sure where to go. And so we are a resource for you. We have several connections with UCF rehabilitation units, engineering unit, and they do a lot of work. They contract with vocational rehabilitation and many businesses to provide literal technology to accommodate people on the work site. So if you all have your little quizzes, can I get a copy? These are just sample questions that we would typically do, and each of them kind of is pulled from one of our trainings that we may provide for you. So if you could take a few minutes just to see if you can answer those questions and kind of test yourself a little bit to give you an idea of what that might be like. And I'll give you just a few minutes. How are we doing? Getting there? All right. Hands down. All right. So again, these might not all fit together perfectly because they're just a sampling of what we might do. So the first question kind of relates to disability etiquette. And so we may have a whole training on how to work with different disability groups and what that might look like. So today, what did we think about question number 1? What was the overarching answer? How many people said A? Everybody said B?
B.
Question, not sure?
I had an A-B-ish.
A-ish.
We're not necessarily good at real level, but I would at least open the doors as kind of a help, but not take total control of the situation.
Absolutely, and again, I tell people all the time when I do sensitivity trainings that, what would you like? How would you like to be treated? It's the same way. Because I'm using a wheelchair and struggling to open the door, it doesn't mean I want you to come take over like I'm a child. But ask my permissions, ask me if I need help. Maybe I'm trying to exercise my arms and I really want to try to open this door. So it's always best to ask. Ask if you need assistance. Perfect. The second question, person with a visual impairment attempts to seek employment with your organization and ask for an accessible job application. Which response is most true for you? And again, you may not have ever experienced this, and it's interesting that you might not even have a policy that you're aware of. But let's see how many people felt that they could do B. How many people felt that B was something they could do? How many people felt A, that they weren't sure what their organization's policy was? Yeah, a couple people. Anybody said C? Good. Yay. So this one now, again, it leaves you to kind of guess because you really don't know how many people in these disability groups are in your workplace. But how many people estimated that they have more than 5 people with a physical impairment in their work site? More than 5, awesome. What about less than 3? Less than 2? Okay, 1? Oh, wow, okay. So 2 or 3 seems to be the right number. Okay, good. Can be better. And then hearing impaired.
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
I have no idea.
Maybe you have 2, okay, maybe 1. So 1 or 2.
I was wondering if there was a percentage. I mean, with the city of Winter Park, there's approximately 500 employees. So my numbers were pretty high. I said maybe 100 would be here.
Would be near there? Oh, okay, awesome. And
I mean, and I don't know, maybe
say
that's
that-
way too high.
You might be surprised.
And something to note about our hearing impaired community here in Central Florida, it is a growing community, especially as our adults become more adult. And you naturally begin to lose your hearing, but you're still in the work age range. So that's something just to note to look for, in future years.
And I think it's also important, like, there are so many degrees
Of hearing.
hearing loss. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily mean complete loss, but some people may have one ear or an issue with their ear, So.
And one of the ways that we define hearing impaired. We define it in 2 different degrees. So one is hard of hearing, which is the hearing loss and or a lower degree of the loss of hearing. And then the other is culturally deaf, which essentially means that you either were born deaf or at a very early age became deaf. Thus, it became part of your culture in your communication and how you learn how to communicate. So, for instance, someone who has hearing loss may not know sign language. So it's not assumed that everyone, necessarily with like a hearing aid or some sort of visible indicator that there's a hearing impairment, they may not know sign language. And so the culturally deaf typically do and or they're learning in order to communicate.
Great. So we're guessing for the whole city, maybe 100. What about visually impaired? 1, 2. Okay. Anybody else? Maybe 1. Okay.
I said 20 out of
About 20 out of the 100.
out of 500.
Here's
But it's
a
just a
tricky-
guess.
Yeah. Here's a tricky one. Mentally impaired. That could include mental illness. That could or could not be manifested, or a developmental disability, which I didn't put in that category.
Would epilepsy fall into that or no?
No, epilepsy is more of a neurological disability, and that can sometimes be categorized under physical. But it's more of a neurological disability. So for this category, we're primarily focused on people with either a developmental disability, like a learning disability, or and it's not called mental retardation anymore, but someone who has an intellectual deficit that affects their learning, that would be the category, would be different. So, and it's difficult to identify those people in your environment. And so the questions that we throw out there, it's more for people to start thinking about their partners at their work site. What's going on around you? How inclusive is my environment?
For mentally impaired, I actually sort of read that mental health. I
Yeah.
don't think I even thought of,
Of the developmental.
so, would mental health be a physical?
No, mental health is in itself a disability group. I just picked 4 to help us out
It's a
today.
different.
Yeah, they're different, yes. So I just kind of picked.
I know for personally, about 10 years ago, I was in a major car accident and I had temporary memory loss. And I think I still have it, but I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or or because of that now. But at the time, my family was going through the process of, is it a disability? Is it something that's going to get worse? What's going to happen in the future? So I would define memory loss
As one of.
under that as well. And that's something, again, that could be temporary, could be long-term, anything with our minds, you never know.
And then we go on to the ADA, which is always interesting. And so how many people said A was a possible answer? The ADA provides protection for the rights of individuals with physical disabilities only. Good, we know better. Good. And anybody said B? You would be surprised how many employers feel that way. Feel that the ADA protects a person with a disability from being terminated. It does not. Basically, an employee is an employee and they're hired to do a job. And if you've provided the appropriate accommodations for them to be able to do that job and they fail to do it, then they follow the same procedures that you would with any other employee who needs to be terminated for poor performance. The accommodation may be something like getting a job coaching. It may be something like providing a certain piece of equipment. But if you put that in place and the performance is still not up to par, you go through the same process. You provide supervision, you provide training, and then if it needs to be terminated, that person needs to be terminated. And nothing's wrong with that, as long as you follow the right procedures. What about C? Good. Anybody said D? Right. It does not provide preferential treatment. Schedule A may provide that for veterans and certain protected groups with government jobs, but it's not really a blanket protection of the ADA. You're planning a public meeting to promote your services and business. This is an open invitation to the public. Which of the following would you say applies? And you can pick multiple in either one of those two. Did we say A?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. What about B?
Yes,
Did anybody agree with B?
I did.
That we only get an interpreter if somebody asks for them?
I think I thought I had read that in our employment applications, that if something's needed, please inquire, but
Absolutely.
I
They will
didn't
do
know
that.
whose responsibility that was.
It is the responsibility of the organization that's preparing this event. Because you've made it a public event, you have to assume that you may get at least one person who's deaf, even if nobody says, hey, I'm deaf. It's good to put that out there and say, do we have any deaf individuals? So you kind of have an idea, yes, but even if no one says, yes, I need an interpreter, you are required to provide one. So that would, of course, explain, go ahead.
No, just a note on that. So I think last weekend, again, short-term loss family, but last weekend, I was in New York at the Global Citizen. If anyone saw that on the news, the Global Citizen, like with
The concert?
well, I was on the outsides of the concert, but then I went there for the social good summit. And the social good summit had, UN ambassadors, folks from like Save the Children, Charlize Theron, Ashley Judd, and all of these very dignified individuals. Not one interpreter was in the room. They showed video after video. There were 0 closed captions. And I'm in the audience like fuming. I'm just like, itching in my seat because literally they're on a global platform right now. This is being live streamed. The UN ambassador from Rwanda, was on the screen. The, Albright, yes, she was there.
Yeah.
They were talking about inclusivity and accessibility.
Not
good. If you were in a wheelchair, there was absolutely no way for you to come into the theater because you could not, it was a fire hazard for you to stand anywhere on the aisles, and there were all of the handicapped spaces that are originally for people in chairs, they were all taken for dignitaries.
Oh my God.
So just a little like.
Did you send them a letter?
Yeah.
I blasted them on Twitter, and yes, I'm trying to find out who we could complain to. Yes, for next year.
It's a huge oversight.
Not
Huge oversight.
Yeah. And do you remember a couple of years ago, was it South Africa? That they had a sign language interpreter that did not know how to sign. So it's important to get a reputable interpreter. Just a side note. And CIL can help you connect with interpreters. We used to have our interpreter services in-house as well, but we have a number of partners that we work with, so we can get you nationally certified interpreters. And our staff, we have a deaf individual that works in our employment department with our deaf and hard of hearing to prepare them for work. And she's awesome. So there is definitely opportunities for you to reach out. And of course, you want to determine if there's sufficient parking. Sure, it is not cool to put your people in a separate room because they have disability. Not cool. So I'm not even going to read that question. And then we gave you a little handout to take back to your workplace. If you weren't really sure, it would be a cool thing to ask your HR person, hey, do we do any of these things? And so that's kind of what the Aspire to Hire program can do for you with our staff. Those that are here today obviously are committed, that's why you're here. So I just wanted to leave a story with you. Well, it's not a story, it's somebody's life with you so that you can understand what the impact is for a person with a disability to find employment. To understand that an employer has given up on all the usual fears. I'm not gonna get sick, I'm not gonna call out all the time. Your insurance is not gonna go up. You're not gonna spend thousands of dollars accommodating me. The average accommodation, the most expensive, is running anywhere from $300 to $500. for the entire time that person's working there. So these are very reasonable things. Sign language interpreters are available on the web. You don't even have to wait for an appointment. You can log on to Purple VRI or on the other video interpreting networks. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to include someone. But I want to talk to you about a client who came to us as an adult, and he had a mental illness that significantly impaired his daily life. And he was in and out of treatment for about 3 or 4 years before he got the right combination of medication and treatment to control his symptoms and his behavior. And so once he got that in place, he reached out to us for employment assistance. And we met with him the first day, and he said, I am tired. I have been searching. I've been going to places. I've been talking to people. And everybody gives me well, we're not hiring right now, and I know they're hiring. So what we did was we sat down and we made a plan. What are the issues that you're facing? Well, I don't have a car. I can't get outside of this little area that I live. I have to take public transportation, and we all know how great that is in Florida, right? So because of that, I can't get around. But I could drive. My medication, my illness does not prevent me from driving. Okay, I have a friend who maybe can lend me a car until I can buy one. So we worked through all these little issues: clothing, interview skills, appearance, the whole thing. We spent weeks working with him on that, prepping interviews, actually sending him out to employers like you, our partners, to do mock interviews so he can get real world feedback on how he's responding to questions, boosting his self-esteem by having him go out and doing job shadows. And then we were finally able to connect him with a bank that was looking for someone in customer service. Now, typically when he came to us, if they had met him that first day, they probably would not have hired him. But through his hard work and understanding what it is that you're looking for a qualified professional, and him realizing his own worth, we were able to connect him, and now he's in a customer service position, making over $35,000 a year from nothing, from making $400 on Social Security. Poverty is the dependence on public assistance. It is a lifetime of poverty. Most people, even though you hear these big numbers, the average person who gets Social Security insurance, SSI, cannot get more than $709 a month. If they have worked and have some kind of work history, they're beginning to draw down their Social Security disability benefits early. And so as they age, if they're not working and not putting that back, they're going to now be an older population, insignificant poverty. So this program actually removes that potential for that person. Now they have the potential for the opposite. They have the potential to be self-sufficient. For him, self-esteem was a huge issue. And so for many of our clients with disabilities, feeling valuable and valued in the community that they live is vital to their own human existence. And so if we can make a difference in giving this person an opportunity, we should. And we're not talking about entry-level jobs only. We don't want dishwashers only. We don't want packer pickers only. There are individuals in our program who want to work at higher levels, who are able to work at higher levels, and are looking for opportunities to do that. And your partnership, your example to other employers is going to be what's going to turn the tide. We don't want to see this happen. We don't want to see 1 in 10 unemployed. We need to change that to 9 in 10 employed. So we're going to just talk a little video. Sorry. So excited. This is just a summary of all our activities. Very short. Now, listen up now, turn up love. Who's gonna save the world tonight? Who's gonna bring me back tonight? We're gonna make it, you and I. We're gonna save the world tonight. Who's gonna save the world tonight? Who's gonna bring me back tonight? We're gonna make it, you
you and I, we're gonna sail the world tonight.
It's not as long as for all for being this long.
There we go.
So, perfect. So I wanted to bring up Helen Miller for a second, who is with Senator Bill Nelson's office, to also kind of share her support and the office's support for the BAC Aspire to Hire.
I don't need a microphone either, man.
I know, we all project.
Good morning, Helen Miller. My name is Helen Miller, and I am here to say hello from Senator Bill Nelson. I had the opportunity recently to tour the center and was just overwhelmed at the amazing services that you provide. I've been by that center 5 million times and had no idea just how broad of services they provide. So thank you for that. This is wonderful. And thank you to all of you. That list of partners, my gosh, it wasn't that great. And I'm sure it's growing, so that's nice too. I just think you all are such a great resource, and I want to invite you all to use our office as a resource. We are just down on Lake Eola, so we're not very far away. And I am Senator Nelson's Regional Director for Central Florida, so I am available. Basically, depends now. But also we have really dedicated caseworkers in our office too, who work tirelessly. So if you have employees, you have some things that you're not quite sure where to turn, give us a call. We can either help you or direct you. So we are a resource just like you are. So please keep that in mind, and Margo knows how to find me. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. So with our relaunch, we actually did, we recently redeveloped our website to support the BAC. It's so beautiful to see a train going down in Orlando. So I wanted to kind of take a minute just to kind of show you around and the navigations of our new website. Just to, again, to show you some resources that are available. So if you are interested and committed to supporting this initiative and supporting, again, serving as a liaison between the community and business leaders and the business community also, we are open to, you're open, you're it's so early. You can be part of our council. And so if you are, just let me know. I have some cards that are out front on the table. If you don't have my information already, definitely get involved with that aspect. You can also become a member, and becoming a member is absolutely free for all employers. And so what you would do is just basically go down, we have tons of videos, and just basically fill out your information. And this, again, serves as, it signals your commitment to supporting, one, the initiative, and then also supporting your business. So the way that we envision the BAC working in the future is it will have a credibility as such as belonging to a chamber or belonging to another type of association, that it stands for something, and it stands for, for your support. And then we have news and events. So this here, if you have any events that are coming up, if you have a job fair, or if you have anything, again, that's available, shoot it over to me. I would be happy to get it posted to our website so that we can promote it for all of our members. And so this also serves as that sort of resource. So I invite you to visit the website whenever you have a free chance. It's bacccf.org. And it's at the bottom of the fact sheet. And so just wanted to give a huge thanks to the Chamber for allowing us to have this space today, as well as Canopy Cafe, who made bacon. Enough said. Canopy Cafe is actually right here in Winter Park, and the Winter Park Chamber of Commerce is too. So definitely want to thank you, and I also invite you to switch business cards and pass out business cards as well. And you may see this brown bag in front of you. It's not, doesn't have like one of those like pop-up like confetti sinks or anything, but it does have an orange in it. So one of CIL's signature colors is orange. You'll see a lot of orange in things that we do. And so this orange essentially signifies, I guess, once you cut it up, it signifies helping one person with a disability find employment this year. And so we are doing a social media campaign called Orange Smile, or it's actually hashtag Orange Smile, where you essentially just wear your orange smile, and I can show you quickly what this actually ends up looking like. Is it on our website?
Yeah.
Is it? Kevin?
Might just be on social media.
Maybe just on social media.
All right. Yeah, I haven't logged in quite some time. Okay, I'll send you guys something. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're like me.
It never logs in.
You can just go to our page.
Google
CIL
page. You have to log in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yep, there you go.
Yay. So this is orange.
Yeah.
So that's what that ends up looking like. And again, just to support, so we do ask that you take a moment, either in the privacy of your own home, facility, or in the office and get your office more involved. So we added an entire orange, which, splits up to what, 6 slices. So you can get 6 people to say hashtag Orange Smile and post it to their social media accounts. Again, just trying to, I mentioned earlier our goal of having the BAC serve to help create a more inclusive environment here in Central Florida. And so CIL is 100% behind that task of, making Central Florida the most inclusive city and/or region in the country. So that is very important to us, and if we have to use social media and look silly for a moment, then by all means, that's what we'll do. And this is not as hard as it looks, actually, and it's very delicious. So are there any questions about the BAC, about CIL, about Orange Smile? Anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Something that you mentioned when you first started talking about not sure if somebody has a disability.
Mm-hmm.
During an interview, or say someone's working with you, if you notice that there's definitely a disability, but they don't admit to it, where do you go from there?
Jason?
Well, under the Americans with Disabilities Act, you can't really force somebody to disclose that they have a disability. As an employer, what we recommend is that if you recognize that they have a disability and it's affecting their work performance, that you have a conversation about how you can improve that person's work performance.
Okay.
So, hey, John, this has been going on. We are able and willing to provide you with any supports that you may need. And this is not about impacting your job. We want to support you. So is there anything that you can think of that if we put in place, you will be successful? And so you've opened that door for them without saying what's your disability.
Right.
And so that would be a part of the conversation. If there's a potential employee that's applied for a position that you're particularly wanting to find people with disabilities to place because of a contract issue or something, you can ask. And if they don't want to tell you, there's nothing you can do about that.
So basically, they don't check it on the form and
Or disclose it.
during the interview process or after they've been hired, you're basically your hands are tied.
Right, you can ask questions such as, this is the job, how would you describe,
Or is there anything I
how
can
would
do
you
to make it
perform?
better for you?
Or I wouldn't even go there, I would simply say in the interview, this is the job description,
Can you
are you
perform it?
able to perform the jobs as described? And it's up to that person to say to you, well, yes, but I may need this.
Okay.
And that, the issue with the whole interview process is fair on both sides. People with disabilities are concerned that you would think that they're not able to do the job if they admit they have a disability. Employers, whether we like to think it or not, will have their own personal preferences of what they want in this organization. They're not just looking for job skills, they're looking for fit, they're looking for that connection. We're human beings, so even in an interview, we're gonna look for somebody that we can like. And that's the reality. And so we train HR and we train our individuals with disabilities to understand how to communicate to an employer what they may need to do the job in a very positive way, so that you don't feel that this is gonna be a burden on you. And then you can interview that person looking at the job description and getting an answer from them on how it will be done and making a good decision. So once we make that connection, it's best. For our organization, when we meet with employers and we talk to them about hiring people with disabilities, we don't start the meeting by saying, I have 10 people who are deaf. We talk about disabilities in general, and then we ask the employer, what is it that you need to, what position are you opening right now? What are your general positions? How do you see a person with a disability fitting into your organization? And then you have that conversation with a business development specialist or with our staff. And that conversation would be, well, I have this particular position, but it's a receptionist position. It requires somebody to be on the phone. It requires us to do all this kind of clerical work. Would you have somebody who can do that? The business development specialist may say to you, well, I do. I have someone who has the majority of these skills, but they won't be able to communicate on the phone. So how would we work that out? We could offer, you and I could talk about probably carving out a position. Maybe you have other people in the office who can handle the phone if they had less clerical work to do. And so we talk about those kind of scenarios with you and help you make a decision about how to include a person with a disability in your work site. We know you want to. And the tide is changing. People are understanding more and more that we need to include everyone in our society in work. And so that, I think that concept and that perception is changing how employers and people with disabilities think. So with us connecting you to people, it makes it simpler. You don't have to worry about those questions in the interview anymore because you're working with an agency who can talk to you about how to accommodate various disabilities. And so when you interview someone, that's not a problem.
Do you have resources for employers, like things that might list, like, why, I don't know how to word it that way, but basically why you should hire someone with a disability, I mean, I know that there are, like for federal contracts, if you've got something like 7% of your workforce, you're eligible to bid federal contracts. I know there's some new legislation that's been there.
Especially for veterans.
Or something like that. Is there a list or some kind of resource?
There is. We do provide a pamphlet to our employers when our business development specialist comes on, but if you guys want to do some research, you can go into Department of Labor work incentives. And it does describe the current work incentives that are available, and they have pamphlets that you can print out online too. But we come prepared when we meet with employers with those incentive packages that are available. And every year is different. So, like this year, quite a few have gone away, and they've created some new ones for youth. So every year or every 4 years or so, it changes.
Not just federal incentives. I'm talking about just
generally
feel like it's the right thing to do.
No. We talk about taxes,
Or actually what we'll do is we'll
post it on our website.
Yeah.
As kind of like a resource
For you
center.
guys.
And then we'll do that, and then
So I
I'll
think
let everyone know.
Something that's like a
when it's,
bulleted list,
yeah.
you know.
And it's not just feel good stuff.
Yeah.
We
Write that
can
down.
definitely get that for you. But our development specialist also comes prepared to talk about them, so that you can ask all those questions specific to your organization. And I know one of the things we struggle with is the sense that our clients are not prepared for the kind of work. But it's not that they're not able to do it. I think it's just thinking outside the box sometimes. In the example that I gave you, yeah, they can't do this one piece of the job, but there's a way around things that could really make it work for both of you and may improve productivity. And then there's certain circumstances where there's nothing you can do. We're working with an organization now where their entire infrastructure completely precludes somebody who's deaf from working there. And so they are working, and it's expensive. They're looking at a $200,000 rehome if they want to make sure that they can fully participate. So we're working with them to get them to start thinking about maybe individual accommodation, not just making it a global thing, but that one person could have a text-to-speech device that could work, you know? So we try to come up with ideas and work with you to figure out accommodations. And there are ways to pay for it. If your organization can't afford it, VR is available, and we have other resources as well that we've carved out.
That brought up a great point as well. One of the things that CIL is looking into right now are technologies that support people with disabilities, either, for employment purposes. So if someone is deaf, having the monitors, if they're in a call center type environment.
There's a watch now that they have.
And then
There's
there's different developments that are happening right over at UCF right now, and as well as other areas, somebody's probably garage, tinkering around. So that's something also that we're looking into in terms of partnerships, to be able to support employers as they start to have questions like, okay, I have this situation right now and this employee that has X, the reasonable what would a reasonable accommodation mean right now? For instance, like we have Microsoft coming, so we've recently partnered with Microsoft, and yay! And they're actually coming to our center, not next week, but the following week, in order to do a Microsoft takeover for our Step Ahead students in order to introduce STEM programs, as well as they're going to be doing an all-day lesson on smart game coding. So again, there's a lot of, things.
I have a question for that, but that Microsoft one, we use Microsoft Live Meeting for at our workplace, and right now, we don't have any type of closed captioning or anything like that, so it can be difficult even for people without hearing impairment to always hear, depending, if it's being conducted in a big conference room, and you're listening from a remote location, and the person at the very end of the table decides he wants to say something, but the microphone's over here. All that can be very difficult, and especially for those of our employees that do have hearing disabilities. I've been trying to work with our IT department to see, is there some kind of plug-in for Microsoft Live Meeting that we can get, or is it like some upgraded version that we're not to yet, because we have to go through all the security things that, so we're always 7 years behind, whatever the latest, product is. And so I'd be interested to know if they
I can ask. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can ask if there's a.
It might be quicker that way. My IT department.
And our VR engineers will actually come out to your work site and assess what you have and give you suggestions of what you can purchase. So if any of your individuals are interested, definitely we can find the resources.
And lastly, if there weren't any other questions, in order to make Aspire to Hire 100 happen, we need you. We need you, we need partners, we need committed individuals within businesses in order to pledge to hire at least one person with a disability this year. So from October 2015 to September 2016, which will be here in a blink. But we need you in order to make that happen. And so again, if you're interested in either becoming part of the council and or becoming a partner organization and kind of denoting that you're pledging to hire one person and becoming part of this network, connect with me either now or later, And we'll be happy to discuss that and what that all involves and includes. So, yeah, that's about it. But I thank you all again for joining us. Our next AC will be in November. And so right before, kind of the holidays times, but we'll definitely send a note out to all of you all, as we're, again, redeveloping and regrowing, and take these oranges back to your office and make it part of like someone's job description.
Yeah, they can do adjustments.
This one may have been told, I just want to ask in case it is.
Right now.
Are you with the city?
Something.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly.
What I'm thinking is this.
So, yeah,
this
right. Yeah. Yes. And it's good, it's good networking, it's good PR, it sounds like you're really in purpose. So, say that this is a priority. It's very similar to like the entire package also affects one of the, it's the same type of, however, now is seeing that students are able to find time for students to come to our organization that has had, so you can hear more. Yeah. No, but I mean, you don't need to.
We're the veteran too,
Yeah, I would definitely send you the yeah, as soon as I get back to my desk, we're actually on our way to the city hall. So, all right, yes.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thank you. My functional role is a gastronomy engineer. My cross-functional leadership role is disability.
So Charles, what did you think? Was it good?
Good. Now, let me know how you get involved to be a speaker.
We're looking for council members right now to kind of reach out to other organizations and bring them in. So little ambassadors to just reach out to businesses and tell them about what we're doing and have them come. So you can sign up on the website.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we'll know,
Everything's
yes.
and everything.
Yeah, so we can track everything. But yeah, thank you.
So it'd be a new experience for me.
Yeah.
You know, getting involved like that.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need people now. We need businesses to come on board. That's what we need. Thank you for representing us.
Oh, no problem, no problem.
Awesome. See if I can help clean up.
Rest of your day.
You too. And we'll see each other again with the strategic planning.
I'm at a discount. I'm walking off.
Yeah.
I did that the last time I spoke. I didn't have I left it somewhere last night. See, my mom's in nursing home.
Okay.
And when I went to visit, the battery was kind of wavering, so it bothered me. He said, I took it out. Then I got up this morning, I was rushing up here. I went to reach for it, and then I remember where it was. I'd rather than go by there and like super late. I'm still being disabled today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I heard.
I'm glad you like it.
This one's about. I was about and I did. It's weird, it's a weird feeling.
All right, go back safely. Okay, yeah.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, Eric.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. What? I don't know, that's a lot of that. I'm just grateful. Bye.
Me?
Are you leaving?
I won't reach for that hand. I won't reach for that.
Oh.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, you know, any other ones I put another in November.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get them. And I'm really excited about your plan.
Good, good, good. Sounds like. See it.
In the back. Or like down in there.
Yeah, it just makes sense. I'm all about the history.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All about it.
And you'll enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh,
okay?
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So who's taking this, who's going back to the office? I am. My first car probably across the street.
Oh, I'm ready.
Was that paid parking? Because I didn't.
It wasn't.
So,
I don't know.
we'll find out.
I didn't go under thinking it was.
So debrief, how everything that went, minus people. Let's talk about these issues. Well, don't worry about it. I mean, we literally relaunched it. I'm not worried. Everything that we're doing right now is growth. Like, so think about it, maybe one person showed up to me, in my mind, especially being new.
I will.
What's sorry?
If one person showed up that night, and, they weren't pledged. So we just went to me, I told our son's information. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. I'm not.
Can I show you how to unplug the computer or the instructions to say, okay.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it
Well, I
out.
have to break it because I'm not going.
Oh.
The only thing I was thinking after, maybe everyone should have stood up and introduced
Yeah.
themselves. Maybe because they think, oh, I'm friends with them.